Who I am, my name is Annie Adkins. My husband Jay and I have been in real estate. This is our 20th year, so whoop, whoop, 20-year anniversary. And we do all types of things, whether that's rentals. We currently have 24, and we're looking at adding those. We've done vacation rentals. We just sold one in Florida, the last one that we had. So we've done that for 5 or 6 years as well. And we do wholesaling, we do creative financing, we do a little bit of everything. So we are in the Columbus, Ohio area, and we have a team. So when I was thinking about what I wanted to present about and talking with Stacy and everybody else, we used to work for, well, I say work for, but we used to coach for a business. I think it may even be international at this point, but it was Life and Air. And Life and Air was the first kind of, not really the first, but the first convention, if you want to call it, or workshop that we went to that really hit home with me as far as a vision is concerned, and really having a plan and putting a plan into place along with boundaries and different people to help you do things so that you accomplish what you want to accomplish, but you're not working 60, 80 hours a week. That really made no sense to me because you can only work as much as you can work then, right? You can't build on what you want and develop the business that you want, plus have a life outside of the business if you are the only one doing the only thing. So, or all of the things. So when I heard about vision and getting a mastermind or a coach or at least an accountability partner, it really made sense to me. And it really made me think about how we wanted to develop our business from that point forward. Because when we went to the Get a Life is what they called it, right? The 3-day Get a Life event. So when we went to that event, my husband was working 80 hours a week. We have 4 smaller children at that point in time. Now they're all either young adults or on their way out of the house. But he was working a lot, and I was like, I don't want to work all of these hours. Our kids are only young and small and involved for so long. So time was more important to me. And that event really kind of showed him as well that he doesn't have to do everything. If we have a plan on how to get there and a business vision for what we want, we can tie it all together and make a life before we actually have a booming business that takes over our life. So that's my first question to all of you. Do you guys have a life, or is your business your life? And it's okay if your business is your life. Don't get me wrong, but wouldn't it be better if we kind of tailor it to where you have a life and then your business works for you instead of you are constantly working on your business? So that's what we really did with our own business and with our own, try to put that out to as many people as I can, whether you're in our coaching program or whether I come across somebody that's just totally stressed out about work, that they have no life whatsoever, and they would really like to go on vacation, or they would really like to be able to spend time with their family, and you just can't because you're so in the day to day. So if you're working too many hours and you have no boundaries, you're always answering your phone, even if you have an event for your family or at a birthday party or even Christmas, and you're on the phone instead of in the environment that you're supposed to be present in, right? And I totally understand the need for hustle because my husband is probably the biggest hustler out there and has been for a long time. So I totally understand if you have the mindset that you have to hustle, but you can hustle and still have a life outside of the hustle. So if you feel like you have a lot of scattered thinking and you don't have a plan and there are no boundaries, like I mentioned, it could make your day less productive every day. And then it kind of builds on that and your chaos gets kind of out of control at some point where you just really have no direction. You don't know what you want to do. You don't know what needs to be done first. You're just totally winging it because everything is so out of what you would like it to be. And, it can totally be overwhelming, right? If you have long lists of things to do and, if they're not prioritized, what needs to be done first? What am I supposed to be doing? And then you could get caught up in learning, which is always important. But for me, if I get overwhelmed, I kind of get on Clubhouse or Facebook and or start reading a book, because all of the stuff that's there that needs to be done is so overwhelming that you kind of have to take a break and get out of the day to day and kind of regroup. So our vision for our life and our business kind of really lays that out, and what needs to happen and what I'm going to do for the day versus what I'm going to have somebody else do for me to get things done. So I know the first um, presentation was about vision, and then the second one was also touching on vision and a game plan. So there's definitely a common theme if we haven't caught on that to that already. But really design your life. Why don't we design our lives, right? I mean, I've talked to lots of people that have spent many hours thinking about what they want for their wedding, and I've known several people to plan even their funerals out before they pass, so that there's no question about anybody and how they want it done. And no fighting over who's going to do what or what we want or how we want it done. So I really kind of looked and said, why don't we design our lives more like we design our weddings or our funerals? And why is nobody really talking about that? So that's why I think a vision is very important. And one of the times that I present, the best exercise that I've found for anybody that has really dove into this topic and had a lot of successes is to do a calendar exercise. And by that, I mean, just take a blank calendar, right? A weekly calendar, like in your journal or in your planner, and just kind of map out what you want your day to look like. If you want to take your kids to school, if you want to take them to soccer practice or dance, or if you want to have a family dinner every evening at 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. or whatever that is, but lay out your day as to how you want it to look. When we first did this, my husband used a filter that he had to work 9 to 5, right? And that's not that's totally not the point of this exercise. The exercise is to get you to see what you want to do with your life, and then kind of where you have to work in that time frame. So I'm not saying don't work. Believe me, I'm not saying that at all. We work hard, and we work hard in a very specified amount of time. The best story I can think about this, as far as hitting home, would be, when you're going on vacation, you really kind of have a list of to-dos before you have to leave, right? And it's amazing how much you can get done when you have a deadline of having to go on vacation, right? So if you have a deadline of what you need to get accomplished, you knock stuff out left and right, I'm sure. Most women do anyway, and most people can if they have a very specified deadline. So for us, the calendar exercise really kind of hit home on what we can do and what we have as non-negotiables. So my top 3 non-negotiables were, I wanted to have family dinner every night and everybody be at the dinner table, because that's something that is so totally being lost these days. And like I said, our kids are only young once, and they're only going to be around for so long as far as in our house on the day to day. So family dinner was really important. At the time we did this first exercise, our kids were still in brick and mortar schools. So I really wanted to be able to take the kids to school and pick the kids up from school. So, 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock was blocked out for getting the kids to school and getting everything taken care of as far as they were concerned. And then from 2:30 to 3:30 was blocked out so that I could pick them up from school and take them home and get them settled. And then 5 o'clock was dinner. And then after that, that was family time as far as I was concerned. Dance activities, cheerleading activities, basketball, football, whatever the case may be. I wanted to be able to take the kids, because for me, family is the most important, and family time. So it's really important to figure out what you want to do, what you can do with the time that you have left, and what you can hire out to have somebody else do for you. And by hiring out, I don't mean you have to hire a full-time person. That was another thing that was stuck in my husband's brain anyway, that, if we hired help, it had to be full-time, it had to be with benefits, it had to be in an office space. And that's not how we started at all with our with our assistants. So again, like I said, what are your non-negotiables? If you want to take your kids to school, if you want to spend time with your husband. My husband and I are high school sweethearts. We met when we were 15 and 16, and we're still together at 45 and 46. And we used to date all the time before we were married and had kids. We would go out on dates. We would do weekends. As we got older, we would do a weekend away or whatever. But now, in the thick of it all, we had no date time, we had no family time. So a non-negotiable for me was, just Friday nights were date night. Um, Mo- Monday through Friday mornings were kid time and getting them to school. So you really have to make sure. Yes, Stacey, you said Pete and you had date night last night. It's funny because we hadn't had date night for years, and now that we've been doing, the vision work and the calendar exercises and stuff like that with our business as well as our personal life, we have date night every Friday night as long as we're not in quarantine, which we are right now because our youngest has COVID. But we are every Friday night either going out, or we even do date nights in the house. Everyone knows Friday night is date night, so nobody contacts us after 5 o'clock unless it's an emergency. They know that we always are consistent about doing date night right now and have been for years. So it's really important that you decide what your non-negotiables are, what your boundaries are going to be for people that you work with, people that you have as clients, people that you want to do business with. My husband is also a real estate agent. So for him, before we really got laser focused, he always thought that in order to be successful in real estate, you had to answer the phone when it rang, no matter what. And we had a really long, in-depth conversation about doctors have doctor's office hours, and there is someone on call, but every doctor is not available 24 hours a day, right? And bankers have hours, and the loans still get accomplished, and banking still gets done. And just because you're a real estate agent and you need to have that phone ringing, or if you're in real estate and you don't want to miss out on that deal, I totally get that. And sometimes you have to make exceptions, but you don't have to be on the phone all of the time. You can say in a voicemail message that your people get when they call you up, that says, I appreciate you calling me. I realize that this is important. Your time is important to me as well. I hope you realize that I do want to do business with you, but this time is my block of time to speak to you. And this time is my block of time to look at emails even, so that you're not constantly distracted by everything all of the time, every waking hour, because really we were working from the time we got up until the time we went to bed every day, 7 days a week. And that was not okay as far as I was concerned. It was not fair to our kids. It was not fair to our relationship. And once you kind of zero in on what your non-negotiables are and what boundaries you need to put in place, things go much smoother than you would ever think that they would at the time. So for me, time is more important than any amount of money. You can always make up money. You can always make more money as long as you have a way of doing it. And time is something that you can never get back. So it was really important to me to figure out what my unique, sorry, tongue-tied this morning as well, unique genius zone is, and what I'm really good at, what my husband Jay is really good at, and then kind of put people into place that were good at what we needed to have done. So what tasks can you hire out? Which ones are important for you to do specifically and what you're really good at? What things are important for your partner, if you have one, to figure out what they're really good at? And then, what kind of budget, and it doesn't have to be a big budget. What kind of budget do you have to hire out somebody else? We started with a part-time person that was a stay-at-home mom that Most of her kids were still in school. She had one that was or not still in school, but in school. She had one daughter who was in preschool, so just starting out. She wanted to work 2 days a week, and she only needed to make a minimum amount of money. So we started her at $9 an hour, part time, 10 hours a week. And she really kind of loved it. And then she said, okay, now that she's in school full time, I can work 3 days a week, but I still would like to have 2 days off so that I can get grocery shopping done, my home stuff done, paying the bills, whatever I want to do, prior to the kids coming home from school. So then we bumped her up to 15 hours a week, to 20 hours a week. And she really didn't want to work any more than 20 hours a week. And we started her out at $9 an hour. So it's not like we're breaking our bank. And it was more important to us to have the time and let go of some of that money than to be bogged down, constantly working, constantly doing all of the things that that we weren't necessarily good at. So if you're not good at something, recognize that, be okay with that, and hire somebody that is. Now, I know some people that are just getting started in real estate have a day job, or if you're not just getting started in real estate, you really like your day job and you want to keep it, or for whatever reason, you need to keep it. So, and that's fine. If you have a day job and you don't know really where you want to start, the best piece of advice I have for you is, you get so many vacation days with your day job. Take a vacation day or take a sick day or a personal day and really focus on your vision for your business and where you want it to go in the meantime, as well as working. And then really laser focus that day off from your day job to get your business started. One of our friends from one of our coaching groups that we were a part of actually worked for the government when she first started her business. And she just, she would take 1 or 2 days off that they were giving her for vacation and just kind of focus on her business and where she wanted it to go and do all that she could in those 8 hours. And then she would just work on it in the evening for an hour or two to get it to where, and she would do that like once a month to where she had kind of one day to focus on what she really needed to do. Because if you're working most of the time, you only take a vacation, I mean, once a year, if you're lucky, maybe twice. So that's what I was doing when I had a daytime job and working for somebody else. You kind of saved up all of your days and either you didn't use them because you didn't have time to use them, or you used some of them when you went on vacation for a week in the summer with your family, or at least that's what I did. So it really kind of hit home when I heard that she would take just one of her vacation days and really laser focus on that 8 hours to kind of get her business going to where she wanted it to for that time frame. And don't recreate the wheel, right? There's lots of people out there that have businesses similar to what you want, or at least bits and pieces, so that you can pull from, people that or people that you've come across that have the business that you want, that have the lifestyle that you want, and just talk to them and see, how'd you do it? And if you can't get a hold of them in particular in person, then kind of like creep on them, right? Don't be a stalker. I'm not encouraging stalking, but I am encouraging you to kind of just look at other people's businesses, see what they have, see what you like about them, see what you think that you want for your business if you have no idea what you want to do or where you want to go. And ask for help, right? That's what we're here for. I'm sure anybody in this convention or summit or even in REI USA will totally help with any questions that you have, because for me, surrounding myself with like-minded people is number one key to being successful the way that I would like to be successful. Accountability is huge as far as I'm concerned. Even if that accountability is your mom and dad or your sister or your cousin or your neighbor, just somebody to really lay out and say, this is what I'd like to do. And it's going to sound really crazy to most people. That's why I say like-minded people are a good thing to have around you. Because when you go to somebody and say, listen, I have this great idea. This is what my business is going to look like. I'm only going to work from 9 to 3, Monday through Thursday. I'm taking the weekends off. They're all going to look at you like, you're going to start a business and you're only going to work that many hours and you think it's going to be successful. Okay. So, because the mindset for everyone as a group of individuals of human beings on the planet, at least in America anyway, is 9 to 5, Monday through Friday at least, families on the weekends. You have to really focus. You have to work from the time you graduate from college or high school, depending on what you do, until the day that you can retire, which is what keeps increasing every year, it seems like. And then, you're supposed to enjoy life after retirement, which for me, 75 or 74 or whatever the age of retirement is these days, even 65 or 64, that's not okay with me. Why would I want to work my butt off for 40 plus years to be able to enjoy life for the last 10 to 15 or so? When you're older and you can't really do the things that you were necessarily interested in when you were younger. So really surrounding yourself with like-minded people, telling people about your goals so that you're getting them out not only on paper but verbally to somebody else. Get involved in a mastermind group if you want, get involved in a meetup, get involved in coaching so that somebody can hold you accountable and be like, listen, this is what you said you wanted, but this is what you're doing. So can you kind of make a connection as to how that's going to help you get to where you want to be? Or do we need to look at things differently to help you get to where you would like to be? And we ourselves are parts of a mastermind coaching group. We coach a mastermind coaching group. And then we also have developed a few accountability groups within those masterminds, as well as in the meetup section. So use your vision for your personal life to help develop a plan for your business, right? And then use your mastermind or accountability groups or accountability partner, or even just your friend that's like, kick me in the butt if I'm not doing what I say I'm going to do, to maintain your focus on that vision, not only for your life, but for your business as well. And like I said, we have a coaching group, we have a mastermind, we developed a meetup that meets once a month. Before COVID anyway. We were meeting in person once a month. And it doesn't have to be something that you pay for, although clearly, the more you interact with the so-called big hitters, the cost is going to go up for an accountability group, to be honest. But it can be somebody that is, backing you, a friend, like I said, anybody that that will not squash your vision or squash your time and your hard work. So I just wanted to make sure that, it doesn't have to be something that you pay for, and it doesn't have to be something that you reach out and try to find. It can be your friend, it can be a coworker um, that knows what you're doing, or even a family member if they're supportive. But you have to make sure that you're surrounded by people that are supportive of what you're after. So I'm going to have you guys email me if you have any questions about a vision or questions about a business vision. If you have something on paper that you want looked at, anything like that. I love to kind of tweak visions for people and kind of pull out what you would want exactly and make it very real and able to be obtainable. So I am all for doing that. And if anybody has any questions about anything, we can start taking questions, or I can talk about some of our coaching students and how they've managed to do some great things with just being honed in on a vision, and talk about myself and what we've accomplished too. Like I said, Jay was working about 80 hours a week before we kind of really sat down and got clear about what we wanted, and not only for our personal life, but for our business. And then we've taken that business a vision that we've done. And, we had this business that he was working 80 hours a week and was hitting the ceiling as far as what we could accomplish. And we honed in on what we wanted and really got clear and precise. And now we work maybe 20, 25 hours a week, really laser focused. And he thought taking one day off a month was fantastic for the longest time. And now we take about 12 weeks off a year and then just travel and spend time with family. And and go and do what we want to do so that we know, and things are still getting accomplished for us, even though we're not here, if that makes any sense.
Andy, can you go in a little bit deeper on the vision and kind of your process of how you came up with yours?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So, what we do is the Wheel of Life is what it's called. You can pull it up online anywhere. There's multiple versions of that, and we look at family, we look at friends, finances, spiritual, health and fitness, and then just any other category that you want to come up with, that's important to you. So, and we really look at where we are versus where we want to be. And then, the goals that you want to set forth. So, for instance, let's say 3 years ago, I think 3 or 4 years ago now, I was not as healthy as I would like to have been, as we all get, the older we get, most of the time anyway. And I was noticing that I was struggling in different areas with aches and pains. I have back issues, neck issues. I have degenerative discs, all kinds of lovely things. But I was noticing, obviously, the more weight I carried, the more inflamed my body was. So I made a commitment and I put it out there to our group, our mastermind group, that I was going to be bikini beach body competition ready by the next time we met. So we meet every quarter. And so I had 4 months basically. Um, and I hired a trainer because I knew I wasn't going to be able to come up with something to do for myself in that category because I had no experience in that category. I was a cheerleader in high school and I danced competitively from the time I was 3 until I was 18. But being a beach bodybuilding competition ready was not my thing. But it was a big, hairy, audacious goal to get myself motivated, right? So I took that and then I met with a trainer and hired somebody that was better than me in that category and knew what she was doing. And she put a meal plan together for me that I had to follow every day, a workout plan that I had to follow every day. And my husband and I sat down and said, okay, this is my goal. And I set a consequence for myself that I could not see myself doing no matter what, so that there was no way that I would back out of this goal. And I just broke it down on a day-to-day basis. How many times did I have to work out every day to get this goal? What did I have to eat each time I ate to get this goal accomplished? And we do that with every section. What do you want? Where are you now? What are the steps that it's going to take to get you there? And then what do you have to do every day to hit those steps? So whether it's a big, hairy, audacious goal like weight loss, and by the way, I could have done that competition in 4 months' time. I dropped 25 pounds and I dropped 13 inches, and I was in the best shape I have ever been since I was dancing in high school, and I felt great. And I've maintained that for a long time. And actually, my husband and I just set a goal again to do an actual competition in November, a physique competition. So it's a big, hairy, audacious goal once again, but I have a plan and a vision for it. So it will be attainable. Um, in your spiritual life, if you want to go to church every Sunday, if you want to find a church that you're good with and you feel at home with, if you want to give back to the community, if you want to do mission trips, whatever the case may be, set the goal and then work it backwards to the daily steps to get you to where that goal is and where you want to be. And we do that every year, honestly. We look at all of our businesses, we look at our vision that we have for our life, and then we break it down into daily steps, weekly steps, monthly steps, quarterly steps, whatever you need to have in order to make that happen. And we have our personal visions hanging in our bedroom or in our bathroom so that we can look at it every day. I know a lot of our students have it on the computer to where they have to flip it up so that you have to look at it every day before you start working. I know some of the coaches that we've worked with have it recorded in their own voice, their vision for their life and for their business, and they listen to it every time they're in the car, just so that you get very acclimated with what you want and it's in your brain every day. It's soaking into your consciousness or your unconsciousness and getting it to where you really want to be in life.
Hey everybody, it's Jay.
This is Annie.
We are so grateful for you joining us on our podcast and listening in and participating. We want to offer you this additional free bonus, and that is joining our Facebook group.
Yes, where we will have other individuals, not just us, but having conversations on all things real estate, and we would love to have you join us. So just click the link below and head on over and join our group.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you on the other side.